and then I like to make sure that everybody's sound and audio is fine in the chat. And so
We're fucking
I will
live.
say,
We're live.
hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Let me know if you can hear us.
Let me know if you can hear us. Everybody.
That's right. That's right. And I'm gonna do some interneting.
Fuck yeah, you should.
Interneting, picture, camera. Here we are. Hey, Robert Brown, what's up, dude? How's it going, man? Everything sound good? Robert has a question that is going to be part of our discussion tonight, and he's a long time he's one of the good ones. Let me see. I'm gonna throw this up in here in a story. Live now.
So you'll edit out all the stuff where I am a bumbling fool, yeah?
Well, yeah, and so the thing you don't realize is when I do this, I know the shape of me saying, yeah. That's my filler thing. Robert Brown just arrived from Yakima after 16 hours of driving, having top cutter IPA. Hey, that's awesome, man. Back from Yakima Valley. Robert, can you hear us well though, brother? So yeah, I edit all that stuff out.
Oh, good.
You know, all the things.
I'm gonna put your editing skills to the test.
Well, I will tell you this. All good, sweet man. So I'll tell you this though. You do have. I feel like you have the right voice for it. Do you feel like you feel like we're loud, Robert?
Are we loud, Robert?
Just turn it down, then, homie.
Yeah, right.
That's the that's the extent of my capacity to fix that stuff.
That's right. I got it fixed. Turn it down.
Hey, Rudy, what's up, man? How's it going? All right, cool.
My pig is raising a fuss right now.
So just so you know, Bill says a pig. Which I'm gonna say is incorrect. I'm going to say that Bill has a boar.
A hog, yeah.
When Bill says that he has a pig, most people are thinking that he has like this pink
tiny cute pig. Yeah.
No, this is not what's happening.
No.
This is, and I'm not debating cuteness. I'm not taking anything off. Mike, what's up, brother? I'm not doing anything like that because listen, first of all, few people can love like the parent. Right.
That's right.
And so that's Ernesto, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the pig?
Ernesto, yeah.
How much does Ernesto weigh?
He's Ernesto Che Gerds. He weighs about 220 pounds.
Bro, he weighs more than me.
Yeah.
All right. Not
he's
by
probably
much.
230. Yeah. Probably 230. Let's do it.
Bro, that pig weighs 220 pounds.
At least, dude. At least.
And you guys, that pig is just right in the house.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He sleeps on the couch.
He's a gentle soul.
He's knocking at the door right now. I kind of gotta let him out. Give me 1 second.
Well, you can let him in or out. You're good, man.
Let me let him out.
All right. You guys, we're gonna get rocking here in just a second. It's good to see everybody in the chat. We're gonna have a good time tonight. This is one that I'm really excited about. I think he's a little nervous, but I'm excited about it. And I think we're gonna have a good time with it. And that's really, we'll jump in here in just a second. We'll do this. Hey everybody, welcome to Adam Makes Beer. My name is Adam, and this is our May 2023 Industry Pro interview, and I'm pretty excited about it, man. Honestly, Billy, I don't know if you know, this month is my 1 year anniversary
Nice.
with all this stuff. This was when the
Congrats.
videos first started dropping, and if
Congrats.
you would have asked, thanks, man. If you would have asked me a year ago, would I be doing a live brewer interviews, a live brewer interview with anybody, let alone you, and have people jumping in the chat and asking questions? The whole thing is pretty wild, but we'll do I'll do a brief introduction, and we'll get to our Blickmann spot. We'll spread the good Blickmann word, and then we will jump into it with my man Bill. But before we get started, Blickmann Engineering has been the pioneer of nano brewing, and they have helped hundreds of successful breweries achieve their dreams since they started with one barrel systems in 2006. Now offering a full suite of brew houses up to 15 barrels, skidded and insulated, matching cellaring equipment, keg washers, grain mills, and more, sized perfectly for the nano brewer. Blickmann Brewing Pro systems are competitively priced without sacrificing quality, and the simple design and factory direct support from our brewing experts gets you up and running faster than anything else on the market. When you're ready to go pro or just kicking the tires, be sure to reach out to them for expert advice and a partner to help you through it all. Turn your dreams into reality by reaching out to Phil, Tom, or Josh at Pro Series at BlickmannEngineering.com. Again, that's Pro Series at BlickmannEngineering.com. Blickmann Engineering Pro Brewing is proud to be the equipment sponsor for this channel and is committed to helping every brewer, no matter where they are in their journey. Now, Bill, I remember Blickmann from way back in the day. So Bill and I have a common heritage, if you will, because I think we probably both heard those Blickmann Engineering spots back on the Brewing Network back in the day. Yeah, man. So it's cool because it's always interesting. So like Bill was in the game before me. I think you were brewing 5 to 7 years professionally before me, maybe.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, and so but you know, when Bill and I first met, we started talking about our backgrounds, you know, how you got into it and everything like that, and we were both Brewing Network guys, and so you always feel like you're probably off to a good start with somebody. Like, no joke, I'm not even being corny. Like, I feel like if you came up listening to Jamil and came up listening to you know, especially, I mean, those early interviews back then, that was when they, you know, and still, but I mean, you know, Vinny, Matt Brindleson, all these big ballers on there, man. And I just feel like it was such an interesting thing.
Absolutely.
Back then, it was kind of when podcasts first started happening, and dude, they hit when the iron was hot, man. And I think for a lot of guys like you and me, man, I think that was the beginning of it.
Yeah, it was huge.
Mm-hmm. So let's kind of jump in. I'll give a brief introduction for Bill Gerds, head of brewing ops over at Lynnwood Brewing and Lynnwood Brewing Concern in Raleigh, North Carolina. They've been down there for 10 years. Bill, you started that place in 2013, correct?
Yeah, June 2013.
Man, that's 10 years ago, Bill.
Oh no,
that's 10 years ago, baby.
Crazy. Feels like 5.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it really is one of those things, man. Time flies, and you went down there, and man, what was it a blessing for them to add you to the team? Your boss down there, Ted. I've gotten to know Ted over the years. He's a sharp guy. He's done it for a long time in that restaurant industry, and I don't think a lot of people have. But dude, Ted got lucky. Ted got lucky when he hired you, and I think that there may be some foggy memories of me being a little over exuberant on a first night in Denver, and maybe having not had a whole lot to eat in a given day. and maybe had a couple beverages, and we're up at altitude, and next thing you know, I'm telling your boss how you need to be appreciated. But you know, anyways.
Yeah, Ted's been great. He's the fucking greatest, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
No.
Yeah. And so just some fun facts, man. And I'm not gonna try to embarrass you, but you know, the resume is the resume. You've been brewing professionally for how many years now?
19.
Dag, boy, good for you. Professionally for 19 years. And then here's a rundown. We're going to be talking hot forward beers today, you guys. Here's his list of GABF medals. Gold and black IPA, gold and Australian pale ale, silver and American pale ale, bronze and fruited American sour, World Beer Cup, silver for black IPA. There are probably a ballpark of a dozen U.S. Open beer championship medals in there, as well as statewide medals and the like. I'm not talking out of school here, am I, Bill? That's what's really going on, right?
And American or Belgio-American ale, Andy Gallagher's.
Yes,
saison, American hop saison was a gold.
That's right. That's right. Was that Osomalo or no?
No, that was no, it was not Osomalo. It was
I can't remember.
Oh, fuck, neither can I.
Anyways, so but yeah, man. I mean, Bill and I have shared the experience a few different ways. I've been with Bill when you've gone up to the stage. Have you gone up twice at the same one? Have you won 2 medals at the same competition?
Yeah, 2 different times at GABF.
Yeah, man. And so I think I was there, you know, when you walk up twice. I've been there where you walk up 0 times.
Yeah,
I think we all have. Yeah. I think we all know what the preferable situation is.
You walk up 0 times more than you walk up once.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, man. And so, you know, when we've been talking so much stuff about whether it be like these stylized yeasts, these stuff that are built on essentially London 3 strains. Yeah. Right. So whether you're talking hazy beer or you're talking these stylized strains, dude, that's so much of the conversation right now. And I do hear kind of some grumblings out from the West Coast a little bit. I listened to some good interviews recently, as I've been screaming about on this channel for about the last 2 months. But some of the stuff that Vinny, the guys at Green Cheek, the guys at what's his name? I always do this. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Go look at the thing. The guy gets plenty of love. Kelsey McNair. Yeah. But you know, and they just did a great interview on kind of where they're at with West Coast IPA right now. And I mean, as we know, I mean, shoot, I think everything has come from California as far as the American craft beer scene goes, maybe with the exception, obviously, of hazy. But man, you know, I mean that's kind of where the tides start swelling. And I know they're doing some cool stuff out there. I am still hoping to get it's just a scheduling thing at this point, but you know, if and when I do get Vinny on here, Vinny Chalerza, yes, dude, I want to talk making Pilsner with him. I mean, I feel like there's plenty of interviews of that guy talking hot forward stuff, but I think he's on a German system now, like either a Braucon or something.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to talk making STS pills with him, you know, and then who Roger Faction Brewing. Roger took down a few medals. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, and I've seen them. They're doing classic. I guess you would say classic malt bills, but they're doing American hopped German Helles. Nice. You know what I mean? You're starting to see some stuff popping off out there a little bit. So that is always kind of that a little bit of that hotbed. And so when we've been doing all this hazy stuff, and when I was thinking about folks that I wanted to talk either, just hop forward American beer, whether it be West Coast pale ale. Obviously with that list we just read, you're a guy I would love to talk to about that stuff, because I think you have great instincts for the style. And so in particular today, we're going to be talking about your West Coast IPA, which is in cans. That's in a 12-ounce can or 16-ounce can, Bill?
Yeah, 16-ounce can.
Okay, so that's a 16-ounce can of Hop on Top is the West Coast IPA. That's basically been your flagship since day one.
Yeah, it's our number one.
Yep. And then the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about an Australian pale ale that you medaled with. Was that you got gold for that?
Yeah, that's Drop Bear.
Drop Bear. And what was the year that you won? Did you win multiple years with Drop Bear or just once?
No, just once. I think it was 2016. We got Drop Bear and Black IPA, I think.
Yeah. Yep, I think so. I think I remember. Yeah, man. No, I think I might have been. We might have been together at that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Might have been together at that one. But we're gonna jump through this stuff just kind of step by step. Sometimes people have some questions. If you're in the chat, welcome. Excited to see you. Oftentimes I don't have a ton of eyes on the chat. I usually kind of dial in pretty because I love having these conversations. So sometimes I don't have my eyes on the chat all that much. Feel free to drop questions if I do end up catching them and it fits in well where we're at. I'll put that stuff in. But sometimes this isn't the best chat scenario for me, but do throw stuff in there. And if you are in there, please say hi, because it's always good to see those regular faces and those new faces in there too. But Bill, let's just jump right in and start talking about Hop on Top, which is your West Coast IPA. You've been making that beer for 10 years now, right?
Yeah, almost 10. Yeah,
dude, that's
in 2 months it'll be 10 years. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's gonna be your 10th anniversary in 2 months.
Yeah. I moved to North Carolina on June 1st, 2013. Yeah.
Man, brother, I have to tell you. So this is this might happen a couple times. So I'm just making this harder for me to edit. So I might re-ask the same question immediately after this, because it'll make it easier for me.
Yeah.
But so how it went down was when I was first trying to break in, I had gotten hired to be head brewer of the spot, and I knew what was going on. I knew how to make beer, but I didn't know pro equipment. I didn't know pro practices, and I'm reaching out to people, dude, and I'm hitting brick walls. And so finally, Bill Gerds, he was brewing at the pub over at Arbor Brewing, and dude, this was back in 2011.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh,
yeah. And I hit him up and I'm like, hey man, I just need to shadow whatever. And I used to drive down there and shadow with him, and that's really where we clicked. And then I was probably, and you're just gonna have to eat this, Bill, probably the one of the most fortunate things that happened to my career as far as becoming a professional at what I'm doing was the time that I had so many pro guys come up to me and say, how the hell is Bill Gerds working for you? I'm not joking. It's true. But no, but I mean, it was a non-traditional thing, because you already had 7 years of experience, which honestly, bro, and especially back then, the number of dudes that had 7 years. And I always remember you used to tell me, I picked up all these like things from you, and you always used to say, oh man, that's mixed monkey stuff. You know, and that wasn't it. And it was like the way that you would like kind of like downgrade like your own brew house experience, right? But dude, you took me, it was a level up for me. Like when I started when I started home brewing and just got into Brewing Network immediately and just started listening like 3 hours a day Brewing Network content. That was like this massive leap up, and it was a massive fast forward. And then how long did we work together at Crankers?
God, at least, I think 1 full year or like a little more than a year, maybe.
Yeah, that year for me, dude, it was just so good, and there was so much good about it, personally, friendship wise and brotherhood wise as well. But just the leap I was able to take professionally, being able to work with you was just such a blessing. And then I remember you took that spot down there, and man, I sweat, man. I did some sweating. And then we ended up getting some more boys in down the line and whatever, and things always work out. But I mean, honestly, it was one of those things where it was good for me. I think I was ready.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, man. So Hugh, what's up, dude? But back to this question, because I got sidetracked a little bit. Yeah, I mean, so you've been making Hop on Top now almost for 10 years, and I'm kind of struggling with where I want to ask this question with it, but maybe let's save it to the end, or at least when we start talking about hops. Right. But at some point we're gonna have to talk about like how that beer has changed for you in those 10 years. But anyways, let's dig into what the beer is right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just kind of go kind of step by step through it, Bill. So let's go ahead and start talking about, how are you building out the grist when you're thinking about making a West Coast IPA?
So right now we are 100% 2-row.
Really?
Yeah, 100% 2-row. I think that's where.
Oh, Billy. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And it's a big difference for me. I used to have a bunch of Munich in it. I've let go of Munich. I feel like just get malt out of the way as much as we can. And so right now we're 100% raw 2-row as far as the grist goes. That's it.
How long has it been since you've had any crystal malt in that beer? Did you ever have any crystal malt in that
beer? Never. No.
Big baller, baby. That's West Coast Billy right there, man.
Yeah,
because listen, dude. I mean, and we came up in the Midwest though too.
Yeah, where you had crystal malt.
Yeah, Orange IPA town, baby.
Yeah. We never did that.
Yeah,
just a little bit of Munich. Or 10% Munich, or I think we were at like 5% Munich when I first put it together.
Yeah,
but that's it. Now it's just 100% 2-row.
That's cool, and I like that, because I feel like back when I got into the game, I mean, especially in Michigan, I mean those oranger IPAs were really where it's at, and I mean, listen. Two Hearted is still like rated the number one IPA in the US,
and that's got some Crystal 40 in it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, straight up that it's 2-row. There's Munich, there's Crystal 40, and there's wheat for head retention.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's yes, and I'm sure they've tweaked that out. But I mean, but that's one of those. Probably between that and Centennial from Founders.
Oh God!
I mean, in my mind, and we can show our Michigan bias or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, that's what Midwest IPA is
for sure.
I mean, and it can be your style or not, but that's what Midwest IPA is
for sure.
And there's certain ramifications with that, So if you want to take the real extreme version of it, let's talk about Huma from Shorts.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, that beer is bitter.
Yeah, and
it's dark, man. Yeah, dude. And it's one of those. It's one of those ways, and we kind of always kind of talk about that when we talk about recipe formulation, where you're like, if you are adding that crystal, if you are pushing that residual sweetness up, man, you got to come over top with some bitterness. Now you might not have to come over the top the way they do with Huma, because Huma comes after it with a hammer, dude. They're flexing, and they're on the top end of the style when it comes to that stuff, for sure. But so that's interesting to me now that you've got that West Coast beer really just pared down to 2-row, and like you said, just kind of let the malt shine. What do you find, like, and it's not a knock on other people's beers or anything like that. If you are drinking, if you did throw 5-10% Crystal 40 into hop on top your West Coast IPA, what do you feel like it would do with that beer?
It just distracts from the hops, in my opinion. It brings like a caramely note that is just not necessary in West Coast IPA.
Sure.
At least where we're at now with West Coast IPA. It's just a showcase for the hops. I mean,
I think so. And I've also heard of some guys talk about how you can get kind of an oxidative note off of those things. Well, can you speak on that at all? Because we were talking about it recently. Yeah. Somebody was asking me, and like, just give me your take on that, because I can't really flesh that idea out.
Yeah, that's true. Like crystal malts kind of lend to that oxidized hop character. Yeah. So it's like a I don't know, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's got a way of I don't know. And when you're kind of talking oxidation like that, is it kind of the classic like cardboard newspaper thing? Or is it just something that tends to kind of like dull out the brightness of the
house? I think it dulls out the brightness, and it's a distractor from what's going on.
Definitely.
There's this slight caramel character that kind of pulls away from what you're trying to do with hops.
Yeah. And so you've got a real straightforward bill with this with the RAR malt. I like RAR. I think it's pretty consistent. I've used stuff more expensive. I've used stuff cheaper, and I think that stuff's a pretty good workhorse.
Yeah, it is.
As far as that goes, so we're not talking about any body malts, any protein malts, any color malts, anything like that. And so let's start talking about taking that really simple grist of really just 2-row. And then let's start talking about the mash and kind of what is your approach when you guys at Lynnwood are putting together this West Coast style. What are you trying to do in the mash? Kind of temperatures and rest, stuff like that.
Yeah. So we're 152 on mash temp, 1.2 quarts per pound. We're targeting a 5.3 pH.
Yeah. And
we're looking at like chlorides to sulfates at like a 3-to-1. So
okay, so you're more chloride heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah, that's interesting. Now, so is that one change in the beer? Because when you first started making it, were you doing a lot of water work?
No, not really, not at all. When we were first making it, I wasn't doing any water work. To be honest.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Because I wasn't either.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was it was Andy that brought the water chemistry to the brewery I was working at.
Yeah.
And I feel as if he's probably had a hand in that down there with you guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
With you guys now. Yeah.
And in the early days, I was reaching out to Colin Kaminsky and trying to get my water my water. And he's a great dude and was
definitely
forthcoming with all that. But yeah.
So and really, what do you feel like? Because I mean, that you would think that the classic water build for this is going to be the opposite of what you were just talking.
Yeah.
Like it would be 3-to-1 gypsum to chloride.
Yeah.
But what have you guys found, and like what is it doing to the beer going with this more chloride forward heavy approach with that beer?
Yeah, I'd rather have it as softer. I'm a fan of like modern IPA. I don't know if that's even a thing, but I'd rather have a West Coast IPA that's like 30 to 50 IBUs and really soft.
Yeah.
I'm just not, I don't know. That old, like a really harsh bitterness thing. It's just not it.
Dude, and it's just, and you can even see just like culturally, it's just gone away.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it. We talk about all the time on here that all hazy IPA is it's the demand for approachable beer.
That's right. Soft, not bitter, really happy fucking beer. Yeah.
Sure. And then the whole key is you need to have it bitter enough to be balanced. And that's really where it's at. Right.
Just
right.
Really. Yeah.
So let me bounce something off you, because this is the way I talk about chloride and gypsum with people.
Yeah.
Is so when I am pushing gypsum on something, when I am pushing the sulfate, I don't, and you can disagree. This is just the way I explain it. In my mind, how it works is gypsum doesn't make a beer more bitter. It brings it into focus. So if you think about like you're looking at something through a pair of binoculars, when it's fuzzy and then you dial it in and it makes the image sharper, the image actually isn't like bigger or something like that. It's just more in focus.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Does that make sense to you?
That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. And so, but I feel like when you go on the other side and you get a little bit chloride forward, you can be a little bit softer and a little bit rounder. And I do think it can emphasize a dryness too. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I've always been on the softer side of West Coast IPAs.
So well, so quick side note: if you and Andy are drinking your West Coast IPA Hop on Top, do you guys fall in line exactly where the bitterness is? Because when he and I drink a beer, he always likes beers about one notch more bitter than I do.
Yeah.
Do you find that with? Are you guys in a similar spot? Or are you guys kind of in the same range?
No, I agree with you. I think he's a notch above my bitter. Yeah.
And dude, I think there's so much utility in understanding other people's palates.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when you're working with them every day. I mean, shoot, you and Andy have worked together for how many years now?
Geez, like at least 7, right?
I think so. Yeah, dude, that's beautiful.
2018, I think.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, you just have to build that understanding with somebody else. I mean, that's really where it's at. So, kind of spinning back to the water talk, and the stuff in the mash. You said kind of a 152 mash rest. So it's kind of balanced between your alpha and your beta amylase. So. You can get a little bit of residual sugar, but it's not going to go bone dry on you or anything like that.
Hop creep sorts all that out. Hop creep will.
I think one area that I messed up, Bill, is I don't think hop creep is written on this question sheet once. But you need to remind me to talk about this, because I know you. Well, I think really everybody has been battling it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So the other note on the mash and the water for you guys are borderline brewing with RO water. Almost.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Our Raleigh water is oh my god, like calcium's low. It's basically like pills in water.
Yeah, that's so crazy. So and this is a side note, because I know, and you're just gonna have to eat it. I know you make a killer dry stout. Do you have to throw chalk in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And does it work? Does it add up the same way? Do you have to like use more than what the calculator says, or does it tend to kind of work?
No, it kind of works. Yeah.
So you have to push your pH up. That's crazy for me for the water we have. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's just dorky stuff. But yeah, man. And so we're kind of in through the mash there. And we did make a short call out to that 152 mash temp and a little bit later hop creep. And we'll dive into that as we go here. And let's start turning our attention to the kettle, because I think the kettle is going to be the first time you're seeing hops. Do you guys do anything in the mash? You guys don't do any mash hopping?
We don't do any mash hopping. No.
Okay, cool. So I'm not missing anything there. So let's kind of talk about that kettle hop regimen. What does that look like for Hop on Top, your West Coast IPA?
So we're doing like 10 IBUs at 60 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, and it probably something like clean, I'm assuming, like a Warrior Magnum kind of thing.
Yeah, Magnum. type of thing, which is like probably a pound or whatever of that high alpha hop.
Yep.
And then I still believe in late boil hops. So we're doing a 10-minute, a 5-minute, and then a whirlpool.
Yeah, man. And it's kind of interesting. And it is funny. And you use the terminology you still believe. And it's kind of funny because, I mean, if you remember when we first got in the game, it was like 60, 45, 30, 15, 20, 10, 15. 5. Yeah. Well, that's even when the handsome Italian over at Dogfish Head was 60, the constant hop, endless, you know what I mean?
Hop dropping.
The endless hop dropping, baby. There was no end. And dude, Sam Calagione, bless your heart, man, brother. You could market. First of all, you look like the high school quarterback that still has it somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your marketing is on point, brother. So I mean, it's no hate there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, because they were rocking the 60-minute IPA, the 90-minute IPA, right? And but yeah, and so and you mentioned you're still kind of a believer. Talk to me because obviously things have been changing, like with hazy beers, there's less and less hops in the kettle, and most people just have them in the whirlpool. Yeah. So talk to me about what you feel like that, and because we're not talking about a long boil. Right. On these hops. We're not talking about like that 45-minute edition. You're talking like a 20, a 15, 10 kind of thing. Yeah. What do you feel like that character is in those beers?
That's a tough question. I just feel like it adds character to those beers. I feel like it's something you can't get just from whirlpool hopping.
Sure.
It's like
do you feel like it's a structure thing?
Yeah, I do.
Like almost like maybe is it kind of on the polyphenol side too?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I know what you're talking about, because I think maybe we've all had those juicy beers, those hazy beers that and the flabbiness I'm going to talk about maybe isn't just so much of a lack of bitterness, but it's almost a lack of hop structure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've come across some guys over the years that have talked about it, and I think it was when Andy was with me at whatever the hell Crankers. Because Professor IPA back then, that was 4 ounces at 60.
Yeah,
just to break the boil. Then everything else was whirlpool, brother. And do you remember what was in the whirlpool of that beer?
Oh Jesus, what was it? Summit and
it was those Summits that you put me on.
Oh, those are tasty.
They had this old stock of Summit, but for some reason, dude, and Summit kind of has this Summit has this reputation as like onion and garlic.
Yeah.
But bro, I tell you, these were some of the fruitiest Summits. Yeah. And they had to be every time we called it Willamette Valley and ordered another box of those damn things. They had to be like, those jackasses back in Michigan. They ordered another box of that stuff.
Fuck that though.
They were like 3. There was like a 3-year-old crop or something at the time. Yeah. It was like an older crop.
Yeah, they were fruity though. So
they were great, dude. Yeah. And it was like Cascade and Summit in that beer, man. Yeah. And then I remember when Andy was working for me. He felt as if it was missing Kettle character.
Yeah.
And he's like, so man, what if we just put something in at 10? Yeah. Like, let's just put a couple pounds in at 10 and whatever, right? I love that. Yes. And so that was a change we made with that beer. And that was also a fix for, do you remember? Because when I was just doing that small 4-ounce edition, and all those whirlpool hops, we would get that beer into the bright tank, and it would be a muddy mess. And we're like, dude, we biofined it. We know the yeast is out. What is going on? This this stuff looks like dog crap. And we're like, we could never put this into a bottle. Yeah. But it was, because it was bottles back then.
Yeah.
But that beer was hazy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that. And by the way, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Bill and I were the forerunners of this crap, because all I was doing was I was mimicking what I heard they were doing at Alchemist. Right. So that's the only reason I had the nerve to have the hop schedule that I was doing at that time at my first pro spot. But no, I'm just saying, like, some of those early things, I was getting haze on these beers, and it was a polyphenol hop haze. Yeah. But we're like, dude, what are we gonna do with this, right?
Spending hours on the plate frame chiller. I
just remember apologizing because I didn't know how to do anything like with a pump or anything. And Billy's over there, and I'm like, oh. And I'm sure you're getting like texts from like Nikki, your wife, and stuff. You're like, I mean, when's work over? And you're like, oh, this guy still got me here. We're on this 9-hour filter run.
No,
but
the game.
But anyways, man. But no, I mean, I remember even back then, wanting to work in and get some of that Kettle character. And honestly, brother, I think that Kettle character, and you say that you still believe in it, I think it's necessary for the style.
Yeah, for sure. Especially West Coast IPAs. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it is. I do feel like it's a structure thing, and I think it's a range of flavor too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It really is.
Absolutely.
It really is. So let's get into that a little bit. Let's talk hop varietals. Let's talk when they're going in, and then let's also kind of frame some whether you have pounds per barrel information or total pounds and how much wort they're going into. So what system, how much wort do you start with in your kettle?
We got a 20 barrel system.
Okay. So this is built on 20 barrels. And so walk me through those kettle additions, man.
All right. So at 10 minutes, we're 6 IBU of Cascade.
Yep.
And then at 5 minutes, we're 5 IBU of Centennial. And a lot of this is driven by what hops we have and what hops we need to get rid of.
Sure.
So, and then at flame out, we're a pound per barrel of Amarillo El Dorado split.
Okay. You've always been big on El Dorado. And I do love, though, are you pulling... when you mentioned Cascade, are you guys running a fair amount of Crosby stuff there? Crosby hop?
Oh yeah, a lot of Crosby.
Yeah, man, dude, their Cascade's baller though.
Yeah, for sure.
I think sometimes people kind of sleep on some of those varietals a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. Sometimes you might have that feling like you need to apologize for using Cascade or Centennial.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
but dude, folding them in there, and I like the fact that you're getting them into the boil. You're getting a little bit of boil on them. Do you have a ballpark, even just like on what? Okay, and so you said, and then a pound per barrel, so basically 10 pounds each of El Dorado and Amarillo. Yeah. And I remember you were the one that got me on El Dorado.
Yeah.
What do you love about El Dorado?
I love it. To me, it reminds me of my youth. Like to me, it's dried apricots.
Yeah.
Especially in the dry hop, and especially from Crosby, they have their El Dorado crop is great. And it's like a dried apricot. It's peachy, apricot-y.
Yeah. And it's that great peach and apricot is such a great in between flavor too, right? Yeah. So like when you're trying to create like ranges of flavor, right? Like that stuff, but it goes so well between some of the classic citrus.
Absolutely.
That you can be popping out of some hops.
You can build on that. Yeah.
And even stuff that's going to be pushing some of the citrus, but also floral side of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you might be able to get you might be able to get some grapefruit out of Cascade, but you can also sometimes get a nice geraniol or geranium type thing out of it as well, right? And it creates a nice range of flavors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And so I know you mentioned the IBU. Do you happen to know the volume of hops of the 10-minute and the 5-minute edition? or do you just have the IBU right there?
No. So it'd be basically 20 pounds in the whirlpool.
Okay, in the whirlpool. And then what about the 10-minute edition and the 5-minute edition?
So 10-minute would be 10 minute.
That's all right. If it's a 6 IBU edition, you're probably looking at a few pounds, but also you can punch that stuff into your calculator, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's what we're doing. You're using Beersmith?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think just about everybody I know is using Beersmith.
Yeah.
So that's great, dude. And you're getting your boil on there. You're getting your whirlpool stuff in. And I like both of those. I like both of those hops for the whirlpool. Talk to me about Amarillo a little bit. Where are you getting your Amarillo from, and what do you feel like you're getting out of it?
We're getting it from Crosby, and I feel like it's not the same as it used to be, of course. But the Crosby Amarillo is really nice. You get a little dank, you get a little diesel, but it's still much fruitier than a lot of the Amarillo I got my hands on recently.
Definitely. And I remember that early on. I remember we because Amarillo is one of those ones that was popping off back in the day.
Oh, God,
when we were first kind of working together and stuff.
Yeah.
And it did start getting that one can get a little diesely.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly though, that stuff is personal preference too.
For sure.
I mean, some people don't mind a hair of that. Like, what did something that blew my mind? Who was the girl from Brewing Network? I can't remember her name, but she's a master level cicerone.
Yeah, Nicole
Ernie. Shout out Nicole Ernie. We had fun. We had a blast out there with that whole crew when I did a Christmas episode with the Brewing Network out there. That was hilarious. If you want to hear something crazy, go back to a 2012 Christmas episode of the session, and you can hear what happened to Nicole. But I remember Nicole talking about she was how was she describing it? She had there's terminology in the wine world and it's maybe not diesel or fuel, or they had a classier way of saying it. Yeah.
It's diesel fuel.
Yeah. But no, I mean that can be part of those hops too, and some people like them as some complexity in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Amarillo used to be just a peach bomb. In the early days when I was homebrewing, it was just peach. It was like the best top I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For sure.
Shit changes.
Well, I mean, it all changes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in the whirlpool now. Are you guys dropping any advanced hot products in on your with your IPAs, with your West Coast IPAs now? So are you using any cryo, any hop oils, anything like that on these beers?
Not on these, not currently. We're not using. We use those a bunch, but not in this beer.
I'm assuming on the hazy side.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't think. I mean, gosh, increasingly, I think it's probably. I'll say this. I'm guessing it's really challenging not using those hot products and making those hazy beers top level.
Right.
That's my guess.
Right. Yeah.
If you're doing it all with T90 and you're making a baller hazy,
that's
dude,
incredible.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Because that's a tall order. That's a tall order. All right, so we're not looking at any advanced hot products in here. So we're talking all T90 pellets. Let's get into the fermenter now. We're going into the fermenter. What are you fermenting these West Coast IPAs with, Bill?
So we're using Cal Ale.
Nice.
001.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you guys repitching that at your place?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. That's gosh, it's been a while since I've really run that strain. Because right now for me, everything is either lager yeast or juice or London 3.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I will have some dry 04 in house from time to time.
Yeah, we do
so,
too.
Dry 04 is so easy for like a one-off root beer.
Oh yeah,
Like something I can't repitch. Yeah. It's just so easy. And especially if you're gonna slap it with fruit and maybe some extract to get some additional nose on it. By the time you put 500 pounds of fruit in something,
it doesn't
and touch it up, that 04 or 05 dry isn't gonna matter in that scenario. But and so you're running Chico on that. We didn't really get into kind of the size of this beer. So what are we looking at original gravity wise with hop on top?
So we're looking at like 1072, 1068 ish.
Yeah. And then how far is that going down?
We're getting it down to like 1006 or 1008.
Oh,
unfortunately.
Here we go. Now here might be our conversation.
Yeah.
And we're probably, so we'll just say this: we're fermenting with Chico.
Yeah.
We're getting a tremendous amount of attenuation.
Oh yeah, huge amount.
Yeah, drying right out, baby.
Yeah.
And I think we all know why. So let's talk about let's get into our dry hop and roll right into the hop creep conversation.
Yeah,
all right. So what are you doing for the dry hop? When is it happening? What hops, volume, everything like that?
So we're 6 or 7 days in. We're a pound per barrel each of Simcoe Citra, split right down the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 pounds per barrel of Citra and Simcoe.
Yeah.
And then, so you still probably have some fermentation left. Some expected fermentation left.
Yeah, we're 10-12 before we dry hop, which would be great to finish at, but
sure.
Hop creep drags us on down. You know?
Yeah, and so you're still at ambient at that point, and
we
are. Ambient at that point is probably, is it 68 or have you ramped it up?
No, 68.
Yeah. And so you're gonna dry hop, and then that thing is gonna start chugging again.
Yeah, it will. It'll re-ferment,
and it's gonna march down another 1.5 degrees Plato or 6 points.
At least, yeah.
Good.
That's
a lot, man.
No,
that's wild. That's wild.
We adjust our bitterness to account for the fact that it's gonna get down that low.
Oh, okay, interesting. So talk to me about that. Well, what do you mean? Are you adjusting it up, adjusting it down?
Adjusting down early.
Yeah.
For the fact that I love it to finish at 10-12, but it's gonna finish at 10-08. So
sure. So and when it drops down that much more, it's just it's almost like if you think about like a mountain and ice melt, right? Yeah. So if you have a mountain here and it's covered up to here with ice, you're only going to see this much of the mountain. Exactly. But you start dropping that snow away, or you start pulling more sugar away, that mountain's going to show more and more. That mountain's the bitterness, right?
Exactly.
And so you pull that sweetness back, and that's really what's happening with your hop creep here, right? Yeah, is your and I know there's been some things back and forth on it, but just kind of ballpark. I think I even heard Vinny talk about it recently, but really we're looking at a situation where the hops that we're using more than likely have an enzyme that is not being denatured in the processing, and is breaking down. That enzyme is breaking down non-fermentable sugars or long chain sugars into fermentable or short chain sugars.
Yeah, and it all comes from that push by Vinny and Matt Brown and John Mallett to have a more flavorful hop at lower kilning temperatures.
Yeah, man.
And here we are.
And it is tough, man. It's a bear to deal with. And, like I'm moving into a little bit different chapter right now, but I've not had to worry about it because I've done cooler dry hop, and I'm also not putting a ton of beer on store shelves warm. Yeah, I'm not throwing it up until, I am going to be canning more as we go throughout the year, but, I'm not doing a ton of that. Yeah. So it's almost like you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
If you're making IPA and getting it cold and keeping it cold, you're in pretty good shape. But you're not in that situation because you're in cans, you're in distro.
Yeah.
And dude, it just is what it is. So you have to let that hop creep run, because if you don't let it run, what's going to happen to the beer?
Then we're going to end up with diacetyl in the can, and that's what we do not want.
Yeah.
So we got to pass VDK, make sure we're not getting diacetyl. And I know there's new enzymes out there. Julian Strago is using them. Everybody's using them.
Yeah.
The ALDS or whatever.
ALDC, I think.
Yeah. And that's we just got some of that, so we're gonna
awesome, dude. You got to check it out, because first of all, I haven't yet, and if you guys can figure it out before me, that always works for me.
And you're not really worried about the added carbonation in the can, because it's minimal. You're really worried about the fucking diacetyl production.
Yeah.
So if we can get that, and that just tightens up the production schedule. We don't have to wait on BDK, you know. We can go, 7 days dry hop is good enough. Boom, crash it, move it. We don't have to worry about diacetyl production through hop creep, which is amazing.
Sure, and because it really is, and functionally what it is it's a production pain.
Yeah,
and it's a quality control thing. It's those two things, you know. And you know, ultimately, we're in the business of flipping tanks on some level.
That's right.
And you got to be able to move them. And we just had a conversation earlier in the month where, you know, we're kind of talking about diacetyl, and sometimes I always think about it through the lens of lager. Yeah, it's that last little stage I need to pass through on all these gentle lagers I'm making, right? But dude, it has some serious utility on that hop forward side.
Oh, so for sure,
you and Andy keep me in the loop, man. I'm looking forward to learn. But bro, it shouldn't be much. I don't think you guys are going to be using more than maybe 75 mils in a batch in 20 barrels. Maybe you guys do not take that as recommendation, but you would want to run it on your own calculator, everything like that. But I think it's just at pitch. So like I'm using Clarex and everything now, except my hazy stuff.
Absolutely.
And so it just goes in. It just goes in with the Clarex. And run with it. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. We're just getting into it. I'm excited about it.
And hopefully it can clear up some headaches for you guys. And I know you run some lagers too, so it might have some utility. And it's not a. I mean, you start thinking about, I mean, obviously there is some cost, but I still think it's not more than $20 a batch.
No, yeah, I agree.
Could be wrong.
No, I think you're right.
I think it's cheap, but I mean, just you start, if you start reclaiming tank residency days.
Yeah, exactly.
That stuff adds up in a hurry, man.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It adds up in a hurry. So, you know, we're kind of through this dry hop. The beer is finishing out dry because you are fighting that hop creep.
Yeah, and we're letting it take its course.
Because you have to, man. I mean, that's you're at the mercy. You're at the mercy of it. We've talked about that dry hop. What's your contact time for your dry? Well, really, you're waiting until it's done.
Yeah. So we're 7-10 days. You know, we're waiting that creep. You know?
Wow.
So it's probably 8-9 days before we pass VDK and we can crush it.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm so excited for you for the well, it might be, I can't remember which one it is for that enzyme. We'll say that. We'll say that.
A couple of days will be cut off, and that over a year.
Oh yeah, man. That's the real deal.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
Absolutely.
So I do know that you guys have a little fancy gadget. So after you guys get those beers cold, between that and the bright tank, what do you have in there, man?
As far as where
you've got you've got a pretty cool piece of equipment.
Yeah, we got a centrifuge. Yeah,
nice, man.
Which is the best thing in the fucking world.
How long have you been running that thing, man?
It's been almost 2 years, probably.
Nice.
2 years ish. Yeah.
And you get some volume back off that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because biofine, we're losing a barrel or whatever out of a bright tank. Now we get every drop of that.
That's wild.
And for loggers and anything that's not dry hops, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Zip it all through there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then you're carbing in line. So by the time you're going from your fermenter through there. So how clear are you taking this West Coast IPA? Do you have any, because you have the ability to dial up and down turbidity with that heat. No, I almost called the heat exchanger with the with the centrifuge. Do you go crystal clear with that beer, or do you like to have a little bit of sheen to it?
No. I want to go as clear as we possibly can. You know, some batches are better than others. We'll push it through as fast as we can and get as clear as we can. But ideally, I'd like it crystal clear. You know? We don't always hit that mark, but that's what we're aiming for.
And that's got to be nice, and that's got to be a nice, I mean, basically just yellow straw kind of beer, right? At that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And then what are you carbing that up to these days?
So we're at 2.6, 2.7. Generally 2.6 is our preferred. Then when we get it in can, it might be like 2.5, you know, through the canning process.
You're always going to lose something with that next stage, right?
Absolutely,
Definitely. Well, listen, man, I'm trying to think as far as maybe let's take a question like this with it. How has just kind of off the top of your head, how has West Coast changed in the 10 years that you've been making that beer? How has West Coast IPA changed in your mind?
To me, the biggest thing I think is bitterness dropping. I feel like you call it modern IPA or whatever, but like the 70 IBU West Coast IPA is now a 30 IBU West Coast IPA. Like Fatheads makes a banging ass. That Headhunter, that's a fucking badass beer, and that thing is like, it's got to be like 30 IBU. They say it's probably 70.
Sure.
Thing.
Yeah, the calculator will always tell you some funny numbers, right?
And I feel like the softer the better with those beers, really.
Yeah. And I feel like too, and I've talked about this with some of the other folks I've chatted with, but you know, sometimes I feel like, so when we were making Professor back in the day at Crankers, that beer calculated out to 65 IBU.
Right.
But damn it, that thing didn't drink more than 35.
Yeah, and that's
what
I mean. Yeah, that's how I feel like Fatheads is. You know?
And
drinks like 30.
Sure, and really, all those IBUs were coming from the Whirlpool on that beer, and I feel like the further you push an IBU number into the Whirlpool, right? So like, I feel like if you're calculating 20 IBU in the Whirlpool, it's probably only going to taste like 10. If it's 50 in the Whirlpool, it's going to taste like 25. And that's just a weird like mental thing that I do when building those beers out. But I mean, I don't think, you know, I agree with you. I do think that West Coast thing we've trimmed up that 60-minute edition. And maybe some of those mid boil hops, maybe the 45 and the 30.
Get rid
of some of that middle stuff, and then loading back up on the late side.
Soften that bitterness, keep it clear, and
yeah, man. No, that makes a lot of sense, and it's a killer version of the style, you guys. I actually just had some listeners stop by the brewery today that were from the Carolinas. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember which one, but they were coming up here. They came up to. I posted about it. We had a picture together on Instagram today.
Nice.
And but yeah, if you find yourself in the Raleigh area, you definitely want to get in and grab those beers. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and start talking about Australian Pale Ale. And
can I get 1 second to let my pig in?
Yes, definitely.
I'm sorry.
You're good. I'm gonna grab a water. Get a refreshment break, guys.
Yes, so. Come on, buddy. What's up, buddy? Oof. All right. I apologize.
We sat down at like the exact same time.
My wife should be home to help me out, but she is not.
What's the deal with the pig?
Yeah, he was just outside banging on the door trying to get in.
And then is there a dog that does not like that the pig is banging on the door?
Yeah, absolutely. That's Milton.
Oh, Milton. Well, of course.
That's the little handsome fucking Milton.
Little Milton.
He's still upset, clearly. Yep.
That's all right. We are good. So listen, man, let's dive into which one is it? Oh yes. Drop Bear, Aussie Pale Ale.
Yeah.
And so this is a style that I've never drank a lot of. And I'm guessing it's kind of built on what the hops are bringing to the table. Can you talk to me about the style a little bit?
Yeah. So this style I actually go a little more malt forward than you would think. I got a little a Munich 40 and 20 in this thing.
No kidding.
Yeah. Trying to build up a nice malt character to this beer. And yeah.
And then so kind of finish color wise in a beer like that. What do you end up pulling out of it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a copper,
Okay.
Color. Yeah.
So it's not just yellow or something.
No.
It's a little bit darker.
It is, yeah. It is. Yeah. It's like an old school pale ale, at least in my brewing of it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And so we're talking a couple kinds of Munich in there. Do you need to go get with him? He's all right.
I could shut him up. I could try to shut him up.
Well, you go tend to Milton for a second. I don't want you being distracted.
All right. Yep.
Just so you know, Milton, he loves that dog. As I've said before, he maybe loves that dog more than me, but I don't know. He loves me a lot, though. There he is, the champion. The champion.
He's a senior citizen. He's got dementia. It's a struggle.
Are you talking about me or Milton?
I'm talking about Milton.
You can if he's gonna be happy in your lap, Bill, you can have him there, dude. I don't care. I'm not joking.
I'm gonna close him into the bedroom.
Well, listen, would he be happy in your lap?
I don't know. Not really.
All right. Well,
he's a problem. If he continues, I'll bring him in my lap.
All right. So talking about grist on Australian Pale Ale. So you've got a couple kinds of Munich that you're folding in there to kind of pump up a little bit of that depth, a little bit of color in it. And then what are we looking at for a base malt with the rest of it? Are you doing a 2-row base? Are you doing a Pils base?
2-row base. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're mostly 2-row, and then we're like 4% Munich, and then just a touch of 40, a touch of 20.
Okay, a touch of 40 and a touch of 20.
So
okay.
we're light on it, but also
just a little something. Dude, what made you want to make this style? Because I know you're a competition dog.
Yeah.
Was it that was a hop forward?
Oh yeah.
It was a hop forward beer that you could compete with?
Absolutely, yeah. And I was like, hey, not a lot of entries in this style. That's the Bill Womby in me.
Hey, listen, I don't know. And I know you guys do it, and I think it's great and it's gutsy. But dude, I mean, winning medals in those massive IPA categories, holy cow. dude, it's so wild.
It's ridiculous.
And I remember, I mean, one small note from did I do? I don't think I live streamed since that. I'll talk about it more at the beginning of next month and that live stream. But first of all, I mean, the big takeaways were obviously it was still West Coast and hazy as the biggest categories. High 300s, mid 400s.
Yeah. And then lagers. And then lagers.
Bro, listen, man, I'm telling you, this is where it's at, dude. This is the dream is. The dream is happening because
the dude I learned from told me, "Oh, you like IPAs?
Yeah,
you'll get into lagers."
Yeah,
progression.
Was that Wambi?
No, Dave Shaw.
Dave Shaw, yeah. Oh, that is your Dave Shaw impression, by the way.
I took it easy on it, but that's him. Yeah. Oh, you like IPAs, Bill?
It's a super good impression, but yeah, man. So but yeah, I mean those lager numbers were big, dude. See, I remember entering Hellas and it was high 90s, low 100s, but I mean, Hellas wasn't 200.
No, almost.
Was it? But yeah.
It was encroaching on
dude, and Pils. I mean, all those lager categories. Pilsner was a fat category. Yeah,
crazy. Fucking crazy,
dude. It's so wild. So, well, anyhow, kind of going back to it's another hoppy beer category that you can compete in.
That's right.
Maybe had a little bit lower entry, right? Hey, baby, I mean, let's get it. We're playing a game here, right? We're trying to win medals. We're trying to win medals.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and so you decide to fire this style up. Had you been tasting like other versions of the style, like locally or anything like that?
I'd never even fucking heard of the style. So, and then like other versions, I don't know if they even exist. I don't even know.
You were the only person. That's why you got a gold. You're the only guy that entered.
I just feel like people are pushing their hoppy beers into it. Like Australian Pale Ale, I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, and probably some wiggle room for some of those, especially at the time, newer Aussie hops.
For sure. Yeah,
stuff like that. And,
what's up?
Yeah, man. So, well, that's funny. That cracks me up. So, but I will also say this, and you're gonna have to just eat the compliment. But I do think it's interesting though, because you hadn't really drank any of these beers before, but you look at the guideline and you clearly ended up making a banging version of it. So let's talk about we've got a little bit more character malt in this beer with the grist. What are we doing in the mash on a beer like this? Were you doing water adjustments back then, Bill?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So So talk to me about mash profile, water profile a little bit.
Yeah, so I was shooting like 154. I was trying to get a little more residual sugar, and this was before the hop creep dilemma, so it wasn't a problem. But we were 2-to-1. Chloride to sulfate. Yep. So pretty standard.
Sure.
IPA feel. But yeah, so we're at about 88 ppm calcium, 140 chloride, 70 sulfate.
Yeah, baby. Nice.
That's kind of that. Yeah.
Straight I like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I do think though too, like there's different ways to run it, but I don't know. I like to, and I've been pushing, you guys mentioned around 85 for your calcium there, which is probably adding a fair amount by you guys, because you guys don't have anything in.
It's coming in at like 10 or whatever, or 8.
And I'm wondering, even after it's like, if you even have any temporary hardness. No, like once you heat that up, I'm wondering if there's even less in there, right?
Yeah, our residual alkalinity is fucking gone. I mean, we're basically dealing with RO or like.
Yeah. So we're in the mash now. We're resting a little bit higher to push up a little bit more body. And then we're getting into the kettle with this thing, and let's start talking what we have going on kettle hop wise with this beer.
Yeah, a lot of similar stuff that we've already been talking about. So like 8 IBUs at 60 maybe, and then 10, 5, 0 type of fucking hopping. We're looking at 30 IBUs total on this thing.
Sure.
Probably a little less because some of those are coming from the whirlpool.
So yeah, I mean, so if you were to, do you feel like it tastes like 30 IBU, or do you feel like it tastes like less?
Probably tastes like less.
Yeah.
Probably tastes like 20 maybe.
Yeah. And so how big of a beer is this?
5%. 5.
Okay. Yeah.
We're on the low end of 5. Yeah.
Sure. Well, that's cool. So where does that beer finish? I'm just trying to put all the parameters in my head.
Yeah. So at this time, pre-hop creep is finished, 12 or 10, 13, 10, 14.
That's why that was gonna be my guess.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my guess. Yeah.
And for me, that's ideal for like every hoppy beer. We just can't get there anymore.
And what do you feel like? What do you feel like it does for you getting that beer at 10, 14 for hop forward beers?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a little bit of sweetness rounds out the hop flavor. So it's like instead of like a dry seltzery grapefruit flavor, you're getting like an actual grapefruit flavor from a little bit of sweetness mixed with the hop character. I think that we struggle with that now. I wish I could have a little sweetness to round out the hop character to make it actually taste like fruit instead of like a extract.
Yeah. It's tough, man. And I remember. I'll just say, I mean, I remember you talking this stuff and having it be really informative for me as a younger brewer, really instructive. And so one of the things that I've talked about in the past is, like the difference between one of those beers at 1008 and 1014, it's like think about a hard cider, a dry hard cider, and then add some simple syrup to it and mix it, and then all of a sudden it starts tasting like fruit, right, rather than wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Around actual fruit character. I couldn't do it more.
But it's a balance though too, right? Because sometimes, and I mean, we could get off track and talk about hazy, but some people are making some really sweet hazy beers.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah.
I think that's where the public loves them, though.
Oh, they do, man.
I feel like 1018 is where people want it to be.
They do, dude. They love it.
And as hoppy as you want, dude. It's like fruit, like fucking orange juice.
I was asking some dudes, or no, I was listening to some podcasts or whatever, and these guys are talking about their hazy, and I realize I have to wait till they actually say the number. Like I can't assume, because sometimes people are like, "Hey, and we go on the drier side."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then like 2 minutes later, he's like, we're at 10:15. And I'm like, well, dude, so like, I mean, when you say drier side, I think you'd be like, bro, you go down to like 10:08? Like, what are you doing? But then you're like, well, what are some people doing?
That is the dry side of hazy, though, 10:15.
Yeah, it is. If
you could stop it at 10:20, 10:22, I mean, I feel like that's you sell a bunch of beer.
Dude, so I have a batch of my hazy up right now. It's about to go away. And I finally was just like, dude, I'm gonna jack this. I took the mash temp up to like 159 or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Brother, that thing finished at 1019.
Perfect.
And dude, honestly, okay, so I can't really drink it. Well, because I'm doing my dumb, I have my dumb gluten thing going right now. But I have to tell you, the tweaks that I've made in that hazy beer, that beer for us is called Sabo. the tweaks I made in that beer after having a conversation with Andy about what you guys are doing down there, dude, I will tell you, I have a more profound haze. And it's not slushy. It's not. It's a denser haze, and I can just say off of aromatics, and I've made a lot of changes. There's numerous things, anything from the pH drop and the kettle thing to a little bit of cone shaving that I just picked up doing. Different things like that. There's all sorts of stuff. But dude, I will tell you, there's a density. There's a density to the aromatics on that beer right now. There's a range of it that I wasn't getting before. You know what I mean? And I do think that it is because you need that haze as a carrier. Right, that haze is a carrier for hop character. Absolutely. And so by actually getting my haze up and not just having it be turbid mess, right, but actually having it be, you know, protein hop haze like that, dude, it does start changing the game. So I did want to tip my hat to you boys at Lynnwood at Lynnwood for that.
To Andy in particular.
Oh, for sure. Well, but you know, and I'll tell you, and I know Andy has a lot of leeway down there, and I think it's first of all, it's a smart thing to do because the dude's a grinder.
He is
and he loves to learn, loves to try new things, and
he's
so
smart as a fucking whip, man.
He really is, and dude, and the flip side is though something that I appreciate about you is as somebody that, you know, I mean, he works for you. You have the smarts to say, hey, I need to let this guy do this. Absolutely. Because sometimes, brother, their ego gets in there, and there's other things, man. But if you got a horse in the stable, man, you got to let that dude run. Otherwise, you might lose him anyways.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? You gotta let those guys do their thing.
Right. You're gonna lose them faster if you fucking pitch. You know, you muzzle them.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's got a lot to offer. The dude's a fucking amazing brewer, and he makes great beer.
He really does. He really does. He really does.
Absolutely.
So let's jump back in on the hop side. We didn't get into dry hop or anything like that with this beer, right?
No, we didn't.
I've got some hunches about what you're doing on the fermentation side. What do you have going on fermentation with this?
Straight Cal Ale.
Cal Ale?
Yeah.
Cal Ale, 68 running it.
Yeah.
And then is it a similar dry hop approach, or kind of dig into it a little bit? There may have been some changes.
No, originally I like the stagger. That's the Vinny Salerzo method. We like to stagger, even in hop on top. We stagger the dry hop. We do half of it one day, half 2 days later.
What's the thought on that, Bill? What's your thought process? And obviously you reference Vinny, but what's kind of the idea with that?
I'm gonna steal it straight from Vinny. His idea of that is that you're getting more. So instead of one big hop cone that's falling through the wort or through the beer, you're getting half of it coming through, and then the next half through. So more exposure time, more exposure to what you're doing. So instead of one giant mound of hops,
slug,
you're cutting it.
Yeah.
So we follow that with like almost all our hoppy beers, except for, you know, now the hazies, we're not really doing that. We're kind of doing something different, but yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, and so I mean, again, we're talking about a time where we're not really worrying about hop creep,
exactly,
or anything like that.
We're pre-hop here.
For sure. So Robert Brown, and I'm gonna wedge this question here. Robert Brown ahead of time said in a question, and it said, when it comes to adding flavor and aroma hops, say for an American pale ale, how much is enough?
Oh, there's that there's never is too much.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's never enough. I mean, how much do you want to add? How much money do you want to spend?
Yeah, right. And
is
and
there
I
ever
mean,
a top end to that? I don't think there is.
sure. And so let's talk about right now the what was the volume of dry hop just in pounds per barrel of what went into this beer?
So we're at 2 pounds per barrel.
Oh, okay. So 2 pounds per barrel on drop bear.
Yeah, for drop bear, yeah.
Okay, so I like that. So you're talking about for your West Coast IPA right now, you're 2 pounds per barrel.
Yeah. And for us
in drop bear, you're 2 pounds per barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that, man.
Just ever moves forward. I mean,
it does, man. it really does. I don't know how well you could. Can you still hear me all right when I'm all sprawled out back?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you know, I do think it's an interesting question because you do kind of hit like, okay, so if you're brewing at home, your concerns might be price and your concerns might be volume of beer, right?
Yeah.
How much beer do you want to have? How much beer do you want to be able to get into package? I hear that.
Those things matter, I feel like.
Sure. Well, what's his name? One of my favorite Mike McDowell things was they're talking about, you know, filtering an IPA and do you lose hop flavor and aroma? And he's like, well, yes, but that's a recipe issue.
Exactly.
Just add more hops, right?
In the front. Exactly. I mean, I used to brew double IPAs at home and dry hop them sequentially like 7 times.
Yeah.
In cornies and 2 ounces each time. And you end up with like you might start with a 6-gallon batch. You end up with 2 gallons of banging ass.
Well, yeah, but if it's the beer you want, though, right?
Yeah. How much money are you really spending at that point? I mean,
and I mean, I think that's really the question, to where it's like some of this stuff comes down to how functional. How functional is it monetarily? How functional is it volume wise? And how functional is it? Pardon me. How functional is it from a production standpoint? Right. And you can have production. You can have production. Obviously, you have production requirements on the pro side.
Yeah.
But you can have production requirements at home too, man. You got to turn some beer for something, or you want to get it out of a fermenter to clear up a fermenter for something else.
Yeah.
I mean, those things always come into play. My thought is this. I mean, if you're entering a beer for competition, I think you're absolutely fine submitting it with 50% more than what would be expected flavor wise and aromatic.
Absolutely. And that's right. Yeah.
And if you're talking American Pale Ale, dude, I would slap it up and throw it in there. Hope it gets into the middle of the flight. Cross your fingers. Hope it gets in the middle of the flight.
And if you're talking cream stout, you might as well fucking make it an undrinkably sweet cream stout. That's gonna win in a 2-ounce sample.
What I used to smash with a cream stout at home. And I remember, dude, I started pushing that thing up to 1032.
Yeah,
final.
Why not,
dude? And it was like to drink a pint of it is like no way. But you enter that 2-ounce pour in a competition. Gold medal. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the weird disconnect between judging beer and drinking beer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, like, was that an approach of yours when you're well? I mean, you're still entering competition, but even back in the day, like on the homebrew side.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I want to beat it up. You know, I want to be the hoppiest thing there. You know,
sure.
I think that's the way to win a competition. That might not be the way to make money and make a production beer.
Sure.
But that's the way to win a competition.
Yeah. I don't think you're looking to hit middle of the style.
No,
especially in a style that's meant to be bold.
Yeah.
Right. You know. Hold on a second. Yeah. I mean, if oh boy, here we go. the whole IPA thing, man. I mean, those are kind of inherently unbalanced beers.
Yeah, they have to
right?
be.
And so
Yeah.
you need to be gunning for the top end of it.
Yeah,
and another one is something like sweet stout.
Yeah.
We were making that joke. Sweet stout is meant to be sweet, and I always feel like I'm getting screwed when I enter a traditional Bach into a competition.
Yeah,
because I feel like you can never. I've always gotten light bodied.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, listen, this beer is 1018
Yeah.
and like a heretic.
Yeah.
I have like 5% flaked oats in this beer. Okay. So you're not like, I'm doing everything I can to, because I mean, the style, I mean, the residual sweetness on the style only goes up so high, but it'll say full body. So when somebody thinks full body, they're thinking like 15% Mecca Imperial Stout that is like a 1060 finishing gravity or something. Yeah. And no, I'm sorry, traditional Bach is not that.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why balance is out the window, dude. If you want to win a competition, you go hard in whatever direction you're heading.
And I feel like you can shoot for middle of the road, maybe with some lagers, or gently flavored lagers, maybe like Helles. But I think even pills, I think even pills, you're better off being on the higher end of the flavor and aroma standpoint for bitterness.
Yeah,
all that stuff, man.
Yeah, from a beer judging perspective, I mean, those are the beers that stand out. You judge. I judge. Those are the beers that fucking win. They are always.
Yeah.
The hoppiest, the maltiest, the whatever, wherever you're
at. Sometimes the least drinkable, right?
Because you're only drinking a little bit,
Sure. Yeah. So kind of talking about competition, and so I would be interested in your take on this. And this isn't like, I don't know, it's not a loaded question. Like, what is your thought on having beer in competition? I mean, obviously we want to enter them, we want to take those medals, but like what's the end of the day? Like, what's your end of the day honest opinion about these big competitions that we're entering?
It's industry only. I mean, you're shooting to impress your peers. Like, the general consumer doesn't give a fuck that we won this many GABFs, this many World Beer Cups. That doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. It's more about the place and the beer and but the competitions really don't matter except for our peers. Yeah. Me, you, you're only trying to impress people that make beer.
Sure.
Nobody else gives a fuck.
Well, and it was funny because, I mean, we would all rather win them than not win them, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, like, I'm trying. How do I want to say this stuff? Because you want to say things the right way. I mean, you can win those awards and go out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't. It could matter less. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you have a good marketing department, I'm sure it can be beneficial.
Only a
right?
little
Like,
bit.
I'm sure you can work it into a little bump, something like that.
Only a little bit, though.
I mean, but by and large, though, I think you're right. No, I think it's for us, and I think it's for owners.
Yeah, it is, and it's for us, and it's for recognition for people that are peers, basically. I mean,
sure. In your mind, obviously, I respect that judging process that they do. First of all, it's a massive undertaking. It's not like, I mean, imagine, have you ever judged GABF or World Beer Cup?
No, I'm not. No, I have not.
You really should, Bill.
I know. I want to. I'm trying to get my national status. I got to take,
do you have to be national?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, just go do it.
I want to be national. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, get out there and do it, because I want you to see how the sausage is made and respond back. But I mean, from everything you hear, I mean, listen, you know they've got quality people tasting those beers.
For sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just with anything, you're probably gonna have some that are a little not as good, and you're probably gonna have some amazing. It's gonna be your bell curve. It's the same with everything, right? But I mean, what does that judging process look like? Because if you have 400 beers in a category, you're not getting your hands and nose on 400 beers.
Yeah, and every beer we've ever won, it's interesting to look at the score sheets because like one guy will think it's garbage, and the other guys might think it's okay. Like I remember we won Black IPA. One dude said it was poop water. Literally, it was poop water. And the other two dudes loved it and pushed it forward.
Yeah, and then it won.
It's so fucking subjective,
It's tough, and really, I think you bring up a good point. Is that one of the things I heard somebody say this at one time? I don't remember who it was, but I want to say maybe it was an old school BN guy. Maybe it was even like somebody like Sully, like Sean O'Sullivan. Who shout out to Sean O'Sullivan and they took down a medal over at JBF.
For sure.
What's the name of the brewery? I can't remember.
21st Amendment.
21st Amendment. That's right. What a great brewery name.
Yeah, for sure.
That was back before there was 19,000 breweries.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that was early.
Yeah, and. But maybe it was Sully talking about it, but talking something along the lines of, you actually sometimes need somebody to champion the beer on the table.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you had a less aggressive person like your beer, it might get bounced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you have that table bully that says it's poop water.
And I've been there on the good side of that. I've drank like IPAs, and I loved this beer that had like a real berry mosaic-y.
Yeah.
And I fought for it in order for it to win, and it got like second place or just homebrew competition, but still, Like if I wouldn't have fought for that character that I loved,
sure.
So it wouldn't have placed. These other two guys would have kicked it the fuck out. So I don't know. It's so subjective.
Hey, just a quick side note. Are they really live? Stephen Plass. Yes, we are really live.
We're definitely.
It almost seems as if it could be pre-recorded. That's just because we're so smooth, man.
That's I mean, it's just that's because we love each other. I mean, come on.
It's just industry pros here. Right. You know what I mean? It's just
recorded. That's a compliment. I love it.
It's just two guys with the face for what they're doing. That's you know what I mean?
All right.
Two beautiful men saying beautiful things.
Well, one beautiful man. I got a face for radio.
But yeah, man, we are live.
We definitely
and so rolling back here. Goodness, where did I get with? Did I miss something? Where did we get? Did we finish this beer out? So it's finishing at like 10:14.
Yeah.
Did you tell me what was in the dry hop on this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, please tell me what was in the dry hop on your Australian Pale Ale, Bill.
So it was when Galaxy was good. At least my Galaxy was good. So we had 50% Galaxy, 25% Eldorado, 25% Mosaic.
That's a good build, man.
It's an Australian beer, but I mean only half of it is Australian. But.
No, I mean I don't think so. But I mean, so let's talk about Galaxy a little bit, man.
Yeah,
because that's one of those hops that people can have some feelings about. So,
yeah. Andy
where are you at with that hop, man?
It's to me, fuck. It's like so many other hops. I can't get good Galaxy. Maybe I got to go to Australia and
select, baby.
Fuck with these farmers, but
yeah.
It used to be like, 5 years ago. Oh my God. Every Galaxy you got was great.
What were you pulling out of it back then?
Oh geez, just like tropical fruit, just like a fruit cup. you know.
Yeah.
And there was no grassiness. There was no like now we get grassy out of it. We're trying to like mess with dry hop times to try to maybe add it at the end 2 days and get it out of there and try to get that fruit and not get the grass.
I've heard some of that. I've heard some people working with timing with those hops. Yeah.
And that's where we're at now. I have some of it, and it's just sitting because I don't. Same with Nelson Sauvin. I mean, I got that fucking hop sitting, and when I first got it, it was incredible, and now,
yeah, man. You know, it's tough because I remember I have not used a ton of Galaxy. I've used some Galaxy here and there, and the last couple times I've had it, it's like it is like a grassier, less. And now, granted, I'll say. Oh, pardon me. I will say now this can be user error. I will talk about the possibility of some user error here, but like of not knowing when or contact time. But the flip side is it shouldn't always have to be like some riddle that you're trying to solve with.
Absolutely.
Sometimes too.
Just be a great
and it does seem as if there's been some shift with that, and those fellows down there, it sounds like they're figuring out some different growing schedule things. It's a harvest thing too, I'm sure,
and drying time and all that. It's all. That's why I hate agriculture. I fucking hate it.
Said the vegan.
I just want it to be consistent, you know. I want every hop to be consistent every time. I don't care where it's grown or whatever, and it's just not the case.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. And so and I know I had some Galaxy, and I was just saying to myself, dude, when am I going to put this in? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you're trying to chunk it up into small parts of a dry hop and hope it doesn't get noticed. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, but Galaxy was that it really used to ball out back in the day.
It could be the sexiest thing in the world, dude. When it's good, holy fuck.
But I do like though where your gut went with trying to build out this Australian pale ale kind of build with it, where you're going to have because those hops, those New Zealand hops do have a particular terroir, right? They do have a particular tropical thing going on down there. So you know you're getting it with your Galaxy. But I do like that you can see that you're going back to some bread and butter too with some other really stand up hops.
Some El Dorado, some Mosaic to kind of push the fruit.
Sure. And so Mosaic is a hop that we haven't talked a lot about. You can get some different things out of it. When Mosaic is good, what is Mosaic like in your mind?
Oh man, it's tropical fruit. It's just a fucking tropical fruit. It's like a fruit cup.
And what about berry? Do you ever pull berry out of Mosaic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like a dark berry thing. And I think that's more late hop than dry hop. At least it used to be.
As in late kettle hop or warm
hop? But I've also done small batches where I did whole leaf Mosaic hops, and it's straight berry.
Really?
Yeah. But now where we're at with it, it's like we're getting a little too much dank sometimes, and tropical fruit if we're lucky. The berry thing, seems to be gone.
Do you ever get? All right, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think I've said this on the internet before. So I used to run, and I used to have like this little Nike like running jacket. So this is when I would run during the winter. Okay.
A little windbreaker.
But this was like a little heavier for like running in the winter. So it was like a nice layer piece, and I would run, come back in, come in the basement. We had a walk in the basement, and I would just hang that jacket up and take my shoes off down there, and then come upstairs. And even though it's cold in winter, I mean, you're still sweating.
Yeah.
This is why listen, I am 100% sober. I have no idea why I'm telling this story.
That's
After a winter of running in this jacket, I ended up smelling it, and I'm like, dude, this thing smells like mosaic. Like kind of like this, like kind of like, have you ever pulled? I've heard some. I heard maybe it was John Mallet, maybe it was somebody else, but it was one of those Michigan boys.
Yeah.
And they were saying that they get Festival Hippie Pit off of Mosaic. Do you
that? Yeah.
Like kind of like
Yeah.
So yeah, Mosaic can get a little like armpity to me, like a little BO-y.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a weird thing. And so yeah, my running jacket did somehow smell like like, and it was, and all it was my gross like armpit sweat just left to like cultivate.
I hate to watch these hops go that way though. I mean, I feel like it goes from small farm to a big farm, and you lose a lot in the struggle. But like, I
mean, what do you think it is? I mean, is it a picking time thing?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's in a new farm. I think it's all picking time. I feel like you're totally right. Like early harvested Simcoe versus late harvested Simcoe. You're talking about delicious, piney, fruity versus like fucking burnt tire. So I feel like a lot of it is definitely picking time, and these farms can't. That's a lot to balance.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. They're scaling too when it comes to these hops, right? And they come in hot, and they get all these crowns in the ground and whatever, and. Yeah, man, it can't be easy. They have to try to schedule that stuff out. And I think we all know there's kind of that link between the longer those hops are on the vine, the more they're going to be picking up those things we're not crazy about.
Yeah, exactly.
By and large, right?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Interesting question from Michael Maroney just came in the chat.
Maroney.
Any chance you could sing? Any chance you could sing Brandy? You're a fine girl to Bill. It would take him back to Big Rapids. I think Mike came up. I don't think Mike ever came up and brewed with us there, but I do remember having a beverage with him out on your patio. So I think he did come up and visit.
Yes, yeah.
Mike is.
Oh fuck, man.
Mike is out in Boston now. He's brewing. He's brewing at a Sam Adams joint out there. I think
he's brewing in fucking bright tanks where you don't clean them. They have fucking bags.
Yeah,
the bag goes into the fucking bright tank.
He told me about that too, man.
Amazing.
It has to be some situation where, like, obviously. So the crazy thing is from a technology standpoint, we both know how cheap chemical is.
Yeah.
So if these bags mean they have to be cheaper than chemical, but at the same time, but you're also factoring labor and time and everything like that. And I'm assuming they're probably on some level they break down or what have you. But Mike is
what a fucking amazing thing that is, dude.
That's wild, dude.
It blows my mind every time I talk to Maroney. I love you, Mike Maroney, by the way.
He's lovable. He's lovable. He's the one that got me on bamboo. If you guys were tuned in for last month, he got me listening to that independent rapper out of Oakland, Bamboo, who you should check out. But no, man. So I talked to Mike. I want to get him. I want to get him on here at some point. But he's sweating me out on that. He might be more shy than you are about it. I don't think
No way, Maroney. You got this shit, brother.
But yeah, man. So I'm gonna be interested because I think he's running some pretty cool gear over there. I do think they run some small batch R&D over there, and
they do. And
I think he's getting a chance to doing his own thing a little bit too.
He made a badass double IPA. I was talking to him about. It's fucking phenomenal, dude. I can't. You should get him.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig in on it.
You got to get on it, bro.
Well, listen, man. Let me think. I mean, I think we kind of wrapped up the Aussie Pale Ale thing. Let me think. Just kind of like if you had to talk big picture, either Pale Ale, West Coast IPA. What do you think is the heart and soul of those beers for the way you like to brew them? If you just wanted to kind of nutshell what those beers are supposed to be in your mind.
Yeah. West Coast IPA, I feel like should be basically at this point all 2-row, 10-10 if you can get there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 3-4 pounds per barrel. And soft. The bitterness has to be soft. I feel like we're heading towards 70 IBU, 50, 40, 30.
Yep.
I feel like you can make a banging ass West Coast IPA at 20 IBU.
Sure. Sure.
And let's just get that. It just has to be clear. Let's get the hops out of let's get the bitterness out of the way.
Yep.
And that's where I'm at with it. Like a modern IPA or whatever.
Yeah, man. For sure. Well, listen, man. I really appreciate you coming on and talking these beer styles with us, and for anybody that's listening along with us right now or going to be listening in the future. Please do remember that these beers have some hardware behind them, and they're definitely worth checking out and giving a brew and seeing what you think of it. I always think it's worthwhile to brew in another brewer's voice. If that makes any sense. And I mean, I know Bill and I have both done it. We did a double IPA years ago when we worked together called End of the World. And that was us riffing off of Pliny. I mean, you know what I mean? You know, we're all riffing off something, right?
For sure. I mean, we're all ripping each other off. That's
for sure
what we should be doing.
Definitely brewing like somebody else, learning from it, and then brewing your own thing.
For sure.
So yeah, but yeah, just on a side personal note, a couple of things I wanted to reiterate. You know, please do if you're in the Raleigh area, get down and check out what they have going on at Lynnwood. They have the grill, they have the brewery. Check out both spots. Leaf Fat Tips. Buy some beer to go, all that good stuff.
And check out Propaganda.
And Bill is a big Propaganda guy. We used to crush it back in the brewery, man. Like
Natalie Merchant too. If you want to listen to Natalie Merchant, I mean that's the voice of an angel.
That was the deal. I remember when we were back at Arbor, and Bill and I were kind of like. I mean, like we were getting along, but like we weren't like clicking, and we're finally like we were talking. And we're like, I don't know, like what's your is there any music like you don't tell anybody about that you listen to? And I don't know which one of us said it first. No. But we both agreed that we love Natalie Merchant
and The Cure.
And The Cure. Yeah. And Bill had I think Bill had like an iPod Shuffle or something. Maybe it wasn't a Shuffle, but it was an iPod.
Yeah.
And then he's got a picture of me cleaning out the mash tun at Arbor. And what had happened was, so Arbor was this fishbowl, okay? So you could see all around. And we're getting out of the mash tun. We're emptying the mash tun. And bartenders are starting to come in. And usually Bill would have something like Propaganda on or some of the other punk that he listens to. But this morning it was the soothing, soul edifying sounds of Natalie Merchant. Absolutely. And they asked him what was going on, and he said, "Oh man, that's Mills. He won't clean out the mash tun unless I play this." So, Bill's been playing me out since way back. So.
Absolutely.
but yeah. So you actually have a picture of me doing that.
I do, yeah.
But yeah. So no, and that's when we really started clicking, and I started bringing in I started bringing in beer and stuff, and it's just been it's been a special relationship, man. Absolutely.
I love this.
And I'll tell you this, and I say it with all honesty. So, Bill, you can't see here, but Bill is typically in a Dickies work shirt, and during the summer it is Dickies shorts that tend to go down to at least the upper quarter of the calf,
mid
calf, and sometimes with the white crew sock pulled up to about mid calf,
almost up to the same,
and then like some variation of like a Vans on his feet, usually well worn.
Yes.
But I'll tell you this: like when I wear a Dickie shirt, and when I wear Dickies shorts, this isn't a bad thing. Like people talk about imposter syndrome. It's not imposter syndrome, but I will tell you this: when I put on a Dickies work shirt, I feel like I'm dressing like Bill Gerds.
Oh no!
I'm telling you, because honestly, you will always be that guy that did that for me back then, man. For real. And because I had to drive 3.5 hours to get to Ann Arbor.
Long ass ride.
And I didn't, and granted, I didn't have a lot of connections, and there was probably somebody closer that I didn't know how to get a hold of. But,
probably.
But you know, but you didn't know me from anybody. You let me come down there. And dude, I'll tell you flat out, you're so much of like in my head of what a brewer is. And I respect the way you grind. I love the talent that you bring to the table with it. And yeah, man, I'm just I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you in my life.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you as well, Mills.
Heck yeah, dude.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Well, listen, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for watching tonight. We will have let's see, it'll be I think my schedule gets a little wonky. But let me look at this. Let me look at this real quick. We are going to be doing in 2 weeks on June 2nd will be our June live stream. So make sure to come log in and check that out. Drop your questions on that. We're going to be doing the thing. Yeah, appreciate it so much. Check out Blickmann, whether you need homebrew stuff, pro stuff. Tell them I sent you. And hope you all have a great night. William, stay on for just a second, because when I end this, we'll still be on. So, all right, everybody, have a great night.
Love you guys.